Hello. It is very cold. Okay, slightly impromptu bit of filming here because I have made a major breakthrough. Something that I've been trying to finish for probably 3 months now. And you know what it's like, you just, if you don't want to tackle it, you just keep putting it off and putting it off, kicking it down the road. But I've found a couple of hours to just, in peace and quiet, figure out what to do with this particular conundrum. So, if you look up here, there is really not a lot of space. So we've got a factory cooler, which goes through to the water system. We've got an aftermarket chase base takeoff, and then we've got a large oil filter. We've also got oil pressure takeoff and oil temperature takeoff as well up there. So it's all sandwiched in. I've had to basically construct it in that space because there's really not a lot of room. And yeah, I'm going to celebrate because I'm really happy that it's all put together. Nothing touches everything. We've got enough space around everything to make it work. I've ran the lines. Now all I really need to do is connect it up to the oil cooler at the top and then bracket it. So I've really surprised myself on that one. I thought that was going to take years to sort out. Just needed 2 hours with a clear mind to get it done. So this video will go in with all of the JZX sort of bringing it up to spec. So we've got a lot of stuff to do on the JZX. That is one of the major things. So I'm really happy that's done. I'm going to crack on now and do some more bits and pieces. And then once I've done that, we'll get involved in the fun stuff so I can talk you through it. At the moment, I'm just going to rattle through all the hard stuff. Filming generally makes it take longer. So if there's anything that I'm sort of apprehensive about, I think I might just tackle it and then maybe tell you about it after. So now that you're up to speed with the oil cooler takeoff, let me show you where the oil cooler is actually located on the car. So I've chosen to put it here between the air conditioning condenser and the intercooler. So this means it's out of the way of debris, flying rocks, stones, stuff like that. I did think about putting it in this area, but it just made the lines a lot longer and actually was harder to route the lines. So I'm going to put it up here out of the way. Now, obviously all of the fittings that we're using are AN fittings. So let me take this off and I'll show you. The CSF oil cooler comes with these M22 plain fittings, which you fit with a sealing washer. Then I've gone to an AN fitting, like so. Now what I've got to do is make the AN line. So what we've got to do is basically put that on the end, use this to fasten it, and then you've got a fully sealed line. Sounds easy. It isn't always easy. But to help, I've got this wicked book. So this comes as a set of 5, I think, and it tells you basically everything you need to know about building a car. So somewhere in here, we've got stuff to do with AN lines. If you bear with me, I'll find it. Here we go. So it gives you a quick reference of lots of AN line sizes. It also tells you the best way to make them here. So you can run through this step-by-step guide and it tells you how to make your lines. So I've used that to make the first lot because I wasn't 100% sure what the best way to do it was. So I always find that even if you know how to do something, the first time you do it in a while, just check. It's always best because you might learn something new. So I've used that for the first set of lines. I'm going to do the second lot just off the top of my head. Really helpful to get aluminium spanners and a holding block. This one is just off Amazon actually, super cheap, but saves you wrecking the aluminium hexes. So I'm going to set this camera up and then we're going to make some lines. Okay, so that's one of the lines done. And what we do is you put this piece of tape on it. So when we're doing this up, we make sure that this hose doesn't back out at the fitting, otherwise you're going to have a leak. So that should be good to go now. So we're going to go ahead and put that up on the oil cooler and just make sure the orientation, everything's correct. There you go. You can see that that works quite nicely. Happy the way that that fits. I'm going to have to make some bracketry to hold the hose away from some of the stuff it has to go past. But next one is this one. So I'm going to take this fitting off and then thread it through the hose and then get the second one fitted. So we're getting close now, guys. We should be able to fire this up pretty soon. Just want to show you a little tip on how far you have to put the hose into the end of the fitting. Hopefully you can see that. It's just short of the threads inside. But what that means is that when you put the fitting in, it's got room to expand up this shank and doesn't clash with the threads, because otherwise you can, sometimes you can cross thread them when you put them in, which is a bit annoying. And now what you do is lubricate the threads slightly. Put a little bit on here too. Okay. And slip it. Oh, you need to do it up first. Okay, yeah, so you do the hose up in the clamp. Obviously you can see just inside here where the threads begin. And then all you do is you take your, get a bit of light, is you take your little fitting, slide it in, and then you start to engage those threads. Now if you've put your hose in too far, you won't be able to get this part started and it becomes quite difficult. But as we got it right, this becomes very simple. So all we do now is do this up. Easy peasy. What we're looking for is to get close to, but not necessarily touch, the bottom union. So now it starts to get a little bit tighter. You can feel that we're getting close, and you don't need to hang off these. So that's about right. Done. Okay, so almost approaching the moment of truth now where we can fill the car with oil. The oil cooler is installed, the lines are run. So before I go ahead and put some oil in it, I'm going to show you how we fitted this oil cooler. So obviously made those lines just now, routed them over the bonnet catch just so that I can still undo the bonnet. This horn, I've had to change the orientation of it so it misses the lines. It goes under the headlight, around the corner. I've got a little bracket just here, holding that line firmly in place, so all of this is really nice and secure. It then goes under the anti-roll bar and then up into the oil cooler. So that's all nice and secure. I'm happy with that. It's not going to move, and it should stay like that for a good amount of time. Obviously I'm going to monitor it, make sure none of this leaks, but I think that's a good job well done. So a couple more things. Just need to run these intercooler pipes again. One up this way, one up that way, put a filter on it. We'll have to clearance the bumper to fit it back on, but I'm going to do that after I've checked for leaks. So next steps now is get the intercooler plumbed back on, fill it with oil, crank it over. It's not been cranked for a while, so I'll do that without firing it, and then fire it, see what we get. All right, everybody. We are piped up, plumbed up, ready to go. So, intercooler pipes are all on. So they're all nice, clear the hoses, everything's good with that. This side's on too. It's looking a lot like a car, a lot more like a car inside here now. So we've got the intake pipe on, got a new air filter. The breather hose is on. Now some of this will need a clean, but I'm ready now to fill it with oil. Love this cap, 09 cap. Fill it with oil, crank it, so I'll just turn it over and then fire it. Wish me luck. Okay, so right here we've got the fuse box with some of the relays that run the car. So you see this one here, it says fuel pump. So we're going to take that relay out. Yeah, okay. I'm going to take that relay out and then I'm going to crank the car, and that should allow it to build oil pressure. We'll put the cap back on without firing it. And then once I've done that, I will check the oil level, and then we'll eventually fire the car. So fingers crossed. I'm back in a minute. Okay, here goes. We are going to crank it. Where are the keys? Keys, here we go. It's all very exciting. This car's not been started for a long time. I think, I want to say September or October. So, just going to crank it over. First issue, no power. I think my battery pack's also dead. Let's have a look. Yep, dead battery pack. That's no good. Okay, we're going to reconvene when I've got some power in this thing. Let's go second time lucky. Here we go. And again. Okay, now I'm going to connect I think the fuel pump is still running because I think it's got an aftermarket fuel pump. So I actually removed the coil pack igniter from the circuit as well. So I'm going to put that back in. Put the fuel pump relay back in, although I think for some reason it's on a different relay. And I'm just going to fire it. There's no leaks under the car. See what happens now. Moments before disaster. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hey. No leaks. Okay, no major leaks on the first startup. Seems to be quite happy running sat there. Not a bad job, I think. I'm quite relieved by that, to be quite honest. So that's the JZX up and running. Really pleased with how the oil cooler has turned out. So I'm just going to get up to temperature and wait for the thermostat to open. And then I'll be able to check and see how much oil it's got. I think there's going to be like another ½ litre capacity required for that oil cooler. So I'm just going to leave it here running. I've got the doors open. Probably going to take like 10 minutes, but I think I'll end the video there. End on a high. I'm really relieved. So next time we will do maybe something different, maybe work on the GTI or maybe even work on the 86. Because that's a major milestone hit, and it means that anything from here on is going to be relatively simple on that car. I've still got to clearance the bumper, just a few bits and bobs really, but I think we'll do that in another episode. It's been a whole day here now working on that. So thanks for watching, I really appreciate it, and I hope the weather's going to get a bit warmer soon.